So hey, welcome back to my channel, guys. I just quickly came on here to give you guys the good news. Yeah, I look a mess. I look a mess, but who cares? So today's video, I wanted to seriously come on here to give you the good news. I've just heard it this morning and it's good. It's good. It's about time. Finally. For those of us who travel to different parts of the country, continents, and whatever, I just wanted to come on here to let you know what the president of Ghana has decided from the 28th and how that's going to affect you when you travel. So guys, you know how it was before, pre-COVID, you were able to just get a ticket and just hop on the plane with your passport, but it's not like that anymore. It hasn't been like that anymore due to COVID, basically. So we had to go through all the COVID shenanigans where everything came into play, costing so much money, having to have your PCR test, having to have your passenger locator form done, having to have your vaccines, having to have sweat a lot of sweat, and spend so much money before you're able to travel to see family, before you're able to travel on business, before you're able to travel to do anything. It's been really hectic. It's been really hard on quite a lot of us, really. But finally, I mean, in Europe, the government and the presidents and the prime ministers and whoever have been able to lift all these restrictions due to the fact that a lot of people have had their vaccines and the COVID rate has gone down, and due to a lot of certain things as well. But obviously in Africa we're a little behind with these restrictions and lifting things, and somehow the president of Ghana, should I be precise, have decided to lift quite a lot of things as well. So I'm going to go through with you very quickly, obviously, things that you were doing before when it was the COVID restrictions and everything, and what is requested now for when you travel to certain countries as well. So let's take the basics. So from UK during the COVID situation, for you to travel, you needed to have your PCR test 72 hours before you travel, and then when you travel you have to make sure that you wear your mask as soon as you land the airport. You're just you're outbound, is that right? Outbound. You wear your mask to wherever you're going. Yeah, so like I was saying, guys, during the COVID situation, you had to make sure you had your PCR test. You had to make sure that you wear your mask at all times through the airport, on the flight, when you arrive, when you get out of the airport. You have to do all these things. You have to fill in your health declaration form. You guys remember that? Yeah. You had to do all of that. You had to, you have to also, when you arrive at your destination, obviously it depends what country you're going to, but in this video we're going to be talking about UK and Ghana, okay? So you arrive in Ghana, you have to have another test, which is the antigen test at the airport that you have to pay for prior to boarding the flight, otherwise you'd be refused. There was a time where you needed a reason to travel. You guys remember that too. You get to Ghana and then you have to go through temperature check-in and all the shenanigans. Like, why? Just to arrive in one place you had to go through all these things because of COVID. So now all that has been scrapped, guys. At the moment now, from the UK, it started like in March this month. It started at the beginning of March, and then gradually now you don't have to fill in any passenger locator form. Ooh. Anyway, so I'm jumping the gun right here. So from UK to Ghana, guys, if you're traveling from the UK to Ghana, this is what you have to do. This is what you need to make sure that you have in order to have a safe and pleasant flight, okay? So from the UK to Ghana, guys, on a serious note, You do not need that PCR test anymore. We are tearing that. Where's the paper? I want to tear the paper off something. You don't need that PCR test anymore. You know what that means? You don't need that. You don't need the PCR test anymore. Bearing in mind, okay, you don't need it if you have been vaccinated. So you have to have, the booster doesn't really count. You have to have the first 2 doses for you to qualify, for you to be eligible to not have to have the PCR test. So if you do not have a vaccine or haven't had any vaccine, or you've only had 1 vaccine, you still need that PCR test. Okay, don't get it confused. So if you know you don't have the 2 tests, 2 vaccines, should I say, you do need that PCR test to travel. For you to avoid having to pay to have the PCR test before you travel, make sure that you have your vaccine, the 2 vaccines that is required to cover you from COVID, make sure that you have that, and then you don't have to have the PCR test. Do you get it? Does that make sense? Pretty simple. And also, if you do have your vaccine, I'm getting confused, PCR test vaccine. If you do have your vaccine, make sure that you have a copy. Make sure that you have proof to show at the airport, because they need to have that before you can board the flight. So let's rewind. You do not need the PCR test from UK to Ghana if you have had your vaccines, your 2 vaccines, okay? Do not pay for any PCR tests. Make sure that you have your proof. In order for you to get your proof, they give you that card. You can register it on the NHS app. And then you can have you can get your details through, the NHS app website as well. So you can take a screenshot of that. You can download the QR code, the scan thingy, and then keep it on your phone, so that every time you get asked, it's just on the phone. So in case you don't have internet to access your NHS website, you can just, screenshot, it's on your phone in your gallery. So yeah, if you've had your teeth, I'm repeating myself, because I want you guys to get it right. Don't go to the airport and then they turn you out, they turn you back. So make sure that you have your PCR test if you are not vaccinated. If you are vaccinated, do not pay for that PCR test. Save that money and go and get some kebab and some club or something to drink, or some fun ice, you know what I mean? So make sure that you have your proof of vaccine. You make sure you carry some masks with you traveling through the airport, on the flight, and then when you arrive. And also, I think you still have to fill in your health declaration form, just to make sure that you're okay. Obviously, even though restrictions have been lifted, we're still told to wear your mask in a gathered places, and just be extra careful. It's common sense, really. Come on. So yeah, when you get to Ghana though, UK, yeah, I think that's about it. When you get to Ghana, guys, the dreaded thing that when you get to Ghana, some of us are worried about is the Kotoka International test that they do when you arrive. You do not need that anymore. Woo, 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 woo. You do not need those tests anymore, guys. That was costing like $150 for, all passports. And then obviously, was it $60 for Ghanaian passport? But still a lot of money. Like, you buy your ticket, you have to have your PCR test, you have to get to Ghana and do another test, and Charlie, too much money just so you can go and G your nikakra. Anyway, so yeah, that test at the airport when you arrive, Charlie, that's been scrapped off the list, which is another saving money thing for those who travel. I think they're still going to be doing the temperature checking thing. You still have to keep your mask on. And what else? I think that's about it, really. But then when you're returning, that's another episode altogether. So when you're returning from Ghana to the UK, you still do not need that PCR test. a few weeks ago, traveling, you did need a PCR test. You didn't have to have, I mean, few weeks ago, you didn't need a PCR test if you were vaccinated, but you still needed to fill in the passenger locator form. But currently, as from today, guys, you do not need a PCR test. You do not need to fill in that passenger locator form. All you need to know is that you need to have your proof of vaccination. That's all they're asking you to have. Your proof of vaccination, of having the 2 vaccines, to say you are covered from COVID. You go with your passport, check in as usual, get on the flight, put your mask on, and come back home. You don't need a day 2 and day 8 PCR, whatever. You don't need to arrive to the UK and be having another extra test. That was, oh my goodness, amount of money that we had to spend on just test here and there, test there in the country, test here in your destination, test here. Charlie, that was a bunch of spending money already gone. But yeah, so we are going back to pre-COVID somehow, where you don't have to pay for all these tests. You don't have to, go through all these shenanigans just to travel. And obviously there are people who are against vaccines. I mean, I'm one of them for quite a few reasons, but because of COVID and traveling, Charlie, catch-22, what do you do? So that's the predicament right now. So coming back to the UK, you don't need the passenger locator form. I repeat, you don't need a PCR test, because I think I was coming back and I realized they're like, oh, the rules are changing very soon. Like, hold on a minute, before I'm going to have my PCR test, let me just read up about it. You can read up about it on the gov.uk website about the requirements of traveling to Ghana and from Ghana as well. I went on there and they were like, you don't need your PCR test. I was like, ooh. So I saved like 400 Ghana cedis, 500 Ghana cedis. How much is that in pounds? I don't know. So yeah, that's what I saved. It would have been a waste of money if I went to, do that test. So yeah, you don't need that. I just filled in my passenger locator form, and they ask you if you've been vaccinated. They check it. You get, you arrive to the UK. They don't even ask you for the passenger locator form, because obviously it's in the system that is going to be changed in the next few days. So that wasn't asked. But now you don't have to do all that. Honestly, just get on the plane. If you don't believe me, obviously do your research. I've done my research, and I've obviously, insert a few facts and thingies in here for you guys to have a look. But if you don't believe me, or you want to double check, always double check. Don't just take what somebody says. That's me. Don't take what I say or whatever. I always double check any info. So you can go on the Gov website, requirements from UK to Ghana, vice versa, and then obviously all the information out there. So yeah, guys, we are free to go, but please take it easy. Okay, take it easy. Still wear your mask. Still use your logic. It's very imperative that COVID hasn't completely gone. It's still there. So please still try and use your masks when you're in other places. The president of Ghana has actually said that events and things can now go on, like the stadiums, the concerts and things can now obviously operate. It was operating-ish before. Smaller places were operating before, but obviously with restrictions. But now that it's been lifted, things can operate now, but you still have to wear a mask and be vigilant. Honestly, be vigilant. COVID hasn't gone, like I said. It's still around. So please make sure you look after yourself and look after your family and people around you as well. So guys, I hope this video helps you out. If you do get any information that I haven't covered, please drop in the section below so that we can all share all this info and help each other out. And please do stay safe. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and yeah, come back next week for more juicy tips. All right, see you soon.